Hey guys, Tim Black here, and just want to do a quick video. Now, this video subject is Marvel versus DC, and before we get into it, just want to let you guys know this isn't a you know Marvel Comics versus DC Comics. This is the Marvel Cinematic Universe versus the DC Cinematic Universe. Basically, I just want to focus on the strategies of both companies and whether or not I feel that it's a winning strategy for both. Now, full disclosure, I'm a huge fan of both Marvel and DC. As a kid, before the obvious choices with Marvel of the X-Men animated series and Spider-Man, I was a huge Batman fan. Batman animated series, and for a extremely short period of time, I was a huge fan of Superman as well. But when it comes to these two companies and what they're doing with their movies, it's amazing to me. Marvel, I'm going to start with them because they've been on their streak longer. 2008 Iron Man came out, and this was a direct result of Disney purchasing Marvel and Marvel having the ability to make these movies. And although Marvel didn't have, of course, their huge hitters, X-Men and Spider-Man, they still had the Avengers. And, not, obviously not every single member of the Avengers, but the core members they had. So, 2008 Iron Man, who is my favorite Marvel character, that movie came out and it was a huge hit. Awesome. Robert Downey Jr., the casting. Not a lot of people believed in it, but he knocked it out of the park. And as he said at the end of that movie and the end of my Iron Man 3, he is Iron Man, and I believe it. After Iron Man 2, we got the Incredible Hulk. And the huge thing at the end of Iron Man 1, we had the scene with Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury and the Avengers Initiative. So that caused some excitement. But by the time the Incredible Hulk came around, it was a thing that had happened, but maybe not a thing that was actually going to happen. But what do we have? Incredible Hulk, Edward Norton, who I believe did a great job. I understand why they went with Mark Ruffalo with the Avengers, and I love Mark Ruffalo's performance as well. But Edward Norton, he knocked out of the park as Bruce Banner. This movie made you forget the terrible Hulk movie that was made before with Eric Bana playing Bruce Banner. However, in this movie, it established, Bruce Banner to the world. It established the fact that, people are keeping their eyes on, enhanced people, if you will. And at the end of the movie, he was basically in hiding, on his way, trying to keep away from civilization so he wouldn't hurt anyone. However, after credit scene, we have Robert Downey Jr. walking into that bar with General Ross, and he says, "We're putting a team together." Very exciting, lets us know these movies are connected. So, gets you thinking, could this really be leading to the Avengers? Iron Man 2 comes out. Great movie. I understand the issues a lot of people had with it, but I enjoyed it. It wasn't as good as Iron Man 1 was, obviously, but I still enjoyed it. Great performances. A lot of action. Introduced Black Widow. We had a cameo from Samuel L. Jackson, a bigger cameo as Nick Fury, so was building him up. Agent Coulson was back, for the second time in the MCU, and then we get to the huge reveal in the after credit scene of Thor's hammer in New Mexico, which moves us to Thor. Now, honestly, before the Thor movie came out, I didn't have a lot of knowledge about Thor. I knew who he was as a character, I knew he was a member of the Avengers, but I didn't know his origins or, any background information at all. My dad's a huge Thor fan, and that's actually his favorite. But the movie, I enjoyed it. I mean, the way they tied it in, where the elements of Asgard, which are so beyond how things had looked prior, to fit in with the MCU was great. I mean, I just loved the way that worked. And obviously, we have the after credit scene with Loki there, setting up the Avengers. And of course, Agent Coulson again, a big tying together of these Marvel films. And of course, moving on to Captain America. Now, this movie, I mean, obviously, after we see Winter Soldier, we see that the first Captain America movie wasn't a huge showcase of just how great a character Captain America can be. But I mean, honestly, I still enjoyed the movie a lot. I mean, going back to World War II, the Howling Commandos, Peggy Carter. I mean, it was just a great movie. And of course, after that, we had the entire lead into the Avengers. The Avengers come out, and I mean, whew, nerd heaven. I mean, you get to see Iron Man, Captain America, the Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, Hawkeye, who, yes, and I forgot to mention, was introduced in the Thor movie, had an extremely small part, but still, you got to see all of these characters on screen together for the first time. And I mean, it was just an amazing thing. And from there, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has just gone forward, and I mean, they've pretty much proven that they really can't do anything wrong. I mean, Iron Man 3, huge hit, huge success, which, in all honesty, Iron Man being my favorite MCU character, I was sort of disappointed the way they handled the Mandarin. Not sort of, I was very disappointed. However, the more I watched that movie, the more I appreciate what it did do. It basically grounded Tony Stark as a character, showed just who he is, and, he's not just a man in a suit. He's much more than that, and he's much more useful. And, after Iron Man 3, we got, let me see, well, it was a while ago, but I believe after Iron Man 3 is when we got Guardians of the Galaxy, which came in, and could be wrong about that. No, we got Thor, The Dark World. And again, Thor was back. Enjoyed that. I mean, Tom Hiddleston as Loki is just an extremely great casting, and anytime we get to see Loki in a movie with Thor, with anybody, but with in this case with Thor, I mean, it was just great. After that, we went to Cosmic, and we got Guardians of the Galaxy, which was a huge hit. I mean, came out of nowhere for a lot of people. No one really knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were. I mean, I sure didn't have the best knowledge of them. I mean, I knew the basics. I mean, I read some stories that, nothing huge. I really wasn't into them that much. But, I mean, the movie just knocked it out of the park. I mean, great casting. Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, and Zoe Saldana as Gamora, Dave Bautista as Drax the Destroyer, Rocket Raccoon, and Groot. I mean, they knocked it out of the park, and they really introduced this larger world, or universe, I should say, of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Thanos was featured much more heavily in this than the little teaser we got of him at the end of the Avengers. And I mean, really just sets up that even though we don't see any of our core Avengers characters, this is still in that Marvel Cinematic Universe. After that, we got Captain America, the Winter Soldier. And actually, I'm sorry, Winter Soldier actually came out before Guardians of the Galaxy. And I mean, Winter Soldier was the showcase for Captain America. I mean, it took everything that we loved about Captain America from his first movie and it expanded on it. I mean, it was a spy thriller. It wasn't just a superhero movie. It had suspense. It had a plot that if you read the comic books, you knew who the Winter Soldier was. You knew it was Bucky. But for people who don't read the comics, because these movies aren't just for us comic book nerds, it's still great to see the reactions of people when it was revealed that Bucky was the Winter Soldier. They did a great job with the movie, and tied into one of my favorite shows, Agents of Shield, perfectly. And of course, after that, we got Guardians of the Galaxy. Then, of course, moving forward, we got Ant Man, or no, we got Age of Ultron, which I mean, people had issues with Age of Ultron, but the way I look at it is they've earned the Avengers to be a huge spectacle of action and special effects. Which I mean, it was not just a huge spectacle of action and special effects. I mean, definitely had that, but I mean, you had this whole plot where Tony Stark. Trying to do the best that he thinks he can do with this Ultron program, really causing a lot of trouble. I mean, a lot. Lives were lost. It was a huge impact on the world, which I mean is going to lead into Civil War nicely. But I mean, it was a huge arc for Tony Stark's character. Obviously, we have the introduction of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, which of course, Quicksilver died in the movie, but it was still a good showcase. And we have the Avengers facility and the new Avengers lineup. And that leaves us into Ant-Man, which was hilarious. I mean, I wasn't expecting much from Ant-Man. I knew that. I mean, I trusted Marvel. I knew they'd make a good movie, but I mean, they did a great job. Paul Rudd, Michael Pena helped carry the movie so well. Michael Douglas, sorry, and just great. And of course, Evangeline Lilly playing Janet or Hope Van Dyne, who can't wait to see her in the Wasp costume that they revealed in the after credit scene. But a great movie. I mean, it was obviously a lot of people would have loved for Edgar Wright to stay on as director, but I mean, I really loved the way it turned out. And of course, this leaves us going into Captain America Civil War, which is going to be great. Spider Man's back in the MCU. Can't wait to see him. But we are getting Black Panther. I mean, we got the Vision in Age of Ultron, and we're getting Black Panther in Civil War. I mean, I cannot wait to see this movie. But that is the so far of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. With the DC Cinematic Universe, I mean, obviously, and I mean, I don't want to bash DC, I really don't, but I mean, this is something that could have started a while ago, but they're taking the somewhat of an opposite approach. Man of Steel came out. Not a lot of people really embraced Man of Steel because they changed certain things about Superman. Obviously, there was a lot of destruction in Metropolis. But, and of course, him killing Zod, a lot of people didn't like that. I loved it. I'm sorry. The next snap was so unexpected that, I mean, I get that it's not Superman. He's the ultimate Boy Scout. He's not going to kill anybody. But I love that. I'm sorry. I'm always a Batman fan. I like my superheroes to be practical and, not so idealistic. Obviously Batman doesn't kill, but at the same time, that family was going to die if Superman didn't kill Zod. But I mean, I enjoyed Man of Steel for what it was. I still think the first one with Christopher Reeve is the best Superman movie that's been done. But after that, we get Batman versus Superman coming out shortly in March, and then that leads us into a lineup of we get Suicide Squad. I believe Wonder Woman comes out before. Yes, it does, and then we jump into Justice League. Now, here's where I have an issue with the strategy that DC is using when it comes to their cinematic universe, their lineup. They're doing everything completely backwards, and it's not being done in a way that I believe is going to help people who are not fans of the comics. Because you're not really giving these people that are being introduced in Batman versus Superman. I'm not sure if you guys heard it, but the Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman are all making an appearance in Batman versus Superman. I mean, we already know that Batman and Superman are going to be in it, and Wonder Woman, they're going to have big parts. But also, we're getting Aquaman, Cyborg, and the Flash making cameos. It was their first appearance. Now, I mean, it's kind of strange because they're not getting their movies until after Justice League Part 1. I mean, and the Green Lantern isn't getting his movie until 2020 with the Green Lantern Corps. So, I mean, it's, strange, but I mean, Batman versus Superman, I love Batman. I mean, I'm kind of excited, but the more I hear about the movie, them adding things to it, I get less excited. I mean, I'm going to go see the movie, definitely, hands down. Even if they would have kept the same day, I would have saw Civil War first, but I would also have went to go see Batman versus Superman. Ben Affleck, as terribly as he did as in Daredevil, I mean, from what I see, I mean, it's looking pretty good. His portrayal of Batman, and everybody who's seen it so far says that his performance and the performance of Jesse Eisenberg are the standouts. Jesse Eisenberg, of course, playing Lex Luthor. So, can't wait to see that. And can't wait to see where it goes for them. Now, Suicide Squad is a different thing for me. I'm a huge fan of the show Arrow. I mean, I think it's the best DC comic book TV show on right now. I know there are a lot of people who disagree with me and say that The Flash is. While I love The Flash is a one-trick pony, and they're repeating the exact same plot from Season 1 and Season 2. However, Arrow used the Suicide Squad masterfully in Season 2, and it seems that DC, Warner Brothers, they saw that people enjoyed this, so they basically said we can make a Suicide Squad movie, but Arrow can no longer have access to these characters. So that's something that kind of disappointed me and causes me to not look forward to the Suicide Squad. But I mean, I'm really excited to see Harley Quinn in live action on the screen. I mean, that's a character I've loved for years. I mean, introduced in the Batman animated series, so well received that they added her to the comics. I mean, I can't wait to see Harley Quinn, and Margot Robbie looks like she's doing a pretty good job. Disappointed that the Jersey accent isn't there, but I mean, still, can't wait to see what happens with this movie. I'm going to go see it regardless. Not really going to pay attention to any kind of critics, reviews, or anything like that. I'm just going to go see it. And then, of course, Wonder Woman, which I think it is a crime that Wonder Woman has not been done on the big screen as of yet. I think that's a crime. I mean, DC has so many great characters, but the only movies we really get are Batman and Superman, and not so much Superman as we get Batman. I mean, the Green Lantern was terrible. I am pretty sure everyone can agree. Through no fault of Ryan Reynolds. And again, that Deadpool movie review is coming soon, but it's just a shame that DC has waited until now to get the ball rolling and getting these characters on the big screen. Animated movies, of course, DC is just killing it. I mean, they can't do any wrong when it comes to the animated movies, but live action movies are just really riding Batman's coattails, or cape in this case. So here's hoping, though, that, in all honesty, I have these concerns. I'm not trying to bash DC. I love both Marvel and DC. It's just that Marvel has shown me more with their cinematic universe. Obviously, they started back in 2008, and DC is really just getting the ball rolling now, but, I mean, the strategy Marvel used really worked, and it's a shame DC has not decided to use that same strategy, but, hopefully you guys really like this video, and I know, a lot of people are looking forward to these movies coming up that I mentioned, and, so drop a comment, give your opinion. If you disagree with me or agree, let me know. Also, please, guys, give me a subscribe and a like, thumbs up. Really will help me. And more content coming soon. 10 Plague out. Thanks, guys.